You're going to see today the Policy Research Associates and the Gaines Center training on how being trauma-informed improves criminal justice responses. We developed this training about 15 years ago. We have modified it and I would say improved it numerous times. As the field has changed, as our understanding of trauma has changed, we have adjusted accordingly. So a couple of things have remained the same about it though, and one is that I would say it's a very hard topic to talk about and to listen to. And much of the information that you're going to hear, especially from the videos that you're going to see today, they're pretty powerful. I've seen them many times, but they still hit me differently on different days. Some of the people who tell you about their trauma and their experiences in the justice system, they're in tears. And some of what they reveal about their experiences is really quite powerful and hard to hear. So we would really encourage you to take care of yourself. If some of it starts to really affect you in a way that you need to take a break, feel free. Walk outside. If you need someone to assist you, let us know that. Because we in no way want people to be uncomfortable to the point where where it's really troubling to you. But it is an uncomfortable topic, so just to be, full disclosure, be prepared to think about and hear about the impact of trauma and what trauma is. One of the ways I like to begin talking about trauma is to talk about why we are talking about it even today. Over the years, it's become really a very prominent topic in the behavioral health field and in the criminal justice field. We have lots of requests for the trauma training from across the country and different kinds of agencies. Even though this is focused on criminal justice decision making, really anybody who comes into contact with justice involved individuals should be aware of trauma and the impact of trauma, because many times how people are reacting in the moment isn't coming from really a place other than their response or their reaction to, or being triggered by something that causes them to respond in a way that perhaps isn't the most understandable way. So just want to make sure everybody, that we're all in the same place on this. Before we start, all of you have a folder, and if you'd open it up, there's some materials in here, but one thing I want to draw your attention to specifically that we will be using today during the training, so pull it out if you will, is your activity pack. It's about a 15-page document that you'll find in your folder. We are going to be using this activity pack throughout the training. It is an interactive training, so be prepared to talk with the people at your table and to offer your information and ideas and suggestions as we go along. It'll be really obvious when we're soliciting your assistance. So keep this handy. It's yours to keep. Take notes on it. Anything that's in the folder you're welcome to take with you, and there's more information in there that explains specifically what the training is for. If you're in one of the professional organizations that has licensing, we don't offer CEUs, but we've had many people submit it to their licensing board for CEUs. So inside this, probably all the materials you would need to submit it to your licensing board is right there in this folder. So you're welcome to take that with you. The field has changed a lot when it comes to understanding why people do what they do. And many of you work directly in the criminal justice system. Sometimes it's hard to understand why people behave in a way that they do, especially when it might seem counterproductive to their own wellness and their own recovery. We're learning more and more about why that's the case. What kind of trauma people experience, and how it really, for many people, is a lifelong challenge, and to really overcome and respond to that trauma in a way that they can move their lives forward. The scientific information around brain development is probably one of the biggest drivers of our understanding of trauma. As we know more about the brain, it's obviously a very complex organ, but we know that trauma experienced really across the lifespan, but certainly children who experience trauma it shapes the way their brain develops. We know that the brain is very malleable, and that we can overcome that through treatment and through exposure to non-traumatic and supportive situations. but it is something that changes the way the brain develops, consequently the way people interpret information, the way that people respond to information, and the more we learn about the brain, really the more we can learn about trauma and the impact of trauma. A couple of other reasons why it's an important topic today. Historically, we know that soldiers have been affected by trauma that they experience in combat. Really from the earliest times, we know that battlefield fatigue, for example, was really another phrase that meant post-traumatic stress disorder. We didn't have a diagnostic name for it, but that's what it was. We know that there were soldiers who just simply couldn't go back to combat, and that they were they were emotionally wounded from what they had seen. The phrase soldier's heart, some of you may have heard of, that specifically refers to post-traumatic stress disorder as well. So seeing that and knowing that and beginning to understand that a little bit better, and certainly supporting the soldiers who came back from the Middle East wars and combats that we've had over the last couple of decades has really compelled us as a country to address it and understand it better and provide support and services. This training is not about treatment of trauma. We acknowledge it's important, but that's not the purpose of this. Really the purpose of this is to raise the awareness of trauma, the prevalence of trauma, what trauma is, and ways to develop more trauma-informed responses in the course of our work. And I would actually say in the course of our daily lives. Having done this training for many, many years now, I found that I respond differently to people just in everyday situations that perhaps my gut instinct might be to react to it, but trying to be more thoughtful and be more responsive to it and understand why someone may be behaving in a way that is uncomfortable, annoying, or the like. So I find that being trauma informed really changes the way I move through life most of the time, right? Most of the time. So why don't we go ahead and get started.